So one of the things that I liked about the episode that I don't know if you did, but was, like we said, the character development. I liked where they went with these two. I sort of liked how they made the Man in Black come from a really reasonable, understandable place. You know, it's the gray areas of life, you know. But Jacob, I thought they went too far with.
Well, they made him very naive.
Well, but they made him petulant, you know, which he's been petulant a couple other times, and we did have that indication. I like the conversation between the two of them where he's like, oh, she may be crazy, but she's right, they ain't right. You know what I mean? They're manipulative, they're selfish. And Jacob's like, they don't seem too bad. And he's like, well, sure, looking down on high, you know, and it's sort of this conversation about a real gritty earth understanding of human beings versus the godlike looking down, but distant, you know, idealizing man. And I think it's kind of an interesting place they went with it. But I almost think that they made him too much of a 13-year-old. It's like he was still acting like a 13-year-old when he was 43. Now, mind you, he's had a very sheltered, weird life living with his mom. So, okay. But it was almost too far in reverse. You know what I mean? I loved where they went with the Man in Black character, kind of justifying where he goes eventually, but they made him too much of a baby for me.
I did like them showing the motivation for the Man in Black. That part I did like. Yeah, Jacob, it also kind of makes his character seem, you know, if you look back on the stuff he's done in past episodes, you think like, you know, where's his motivation? Where's he going with this, you know? Because there's nothing in this, you know, origin story that lets you believe really he has much purpose other than just finding someone to replace him. Well,
I think it's a game, and that's what we've come to is that, you know, he says, the Man in Black, who has no name, he who shall not be named, says to him, eventually you can make up your own game and everybody will follow your rules. And I think as the petulant, really overly sheltered mama's boy that he is, that's exactly what he did. You know? And he's playing this elaborate game with his brother to prove that he's wrong, that men aren't all bad, you know?
See, when it gets into that kind of vague territory where it's like, okay, well, you're going to create your own rules type of thing, that's where Lost is, you know, losing me. Because it just becomes a thing of the characters themselves creating the situations for themselves, you know?
Yeah.
Much like with Mother saying, okay, you two will never be able to kill each other, you know?
Right.
Like sprinkled whatever. I don't know what she did. She like said a prayer or whatever. Yeah. Like that type of stuff to me, I don't like buying into that type of stuff.
I mean, I was okay with that because, like I said, she really loves them and she really believes that human nature is bad, so she made it impossible for them to do that. Except that Jacob sort of does, you know. He at least kills his brother's physical body.
So one of the remaining questions, even after this episode has aired, we still really don't know what the rules are. I mean, we know some of them, and they implied that Jacob is going to create these rules, but we still haven't seen it actually happen yet.
Right. I'm hoping that they come back to that, and they like if that's it, and we never ever come back to this, I'm going to be so disappointed on so many levels because. Yeah, okay, now what? You know what I mean? He's got these powers. He obviously creates this game. Why? When does he recognize what Smokey is? What is Smokey? You know what I mean? Like, because the Man in Black actually is more in personality like Mother, you know, than Jacob is.
Yes.
You know, he believes that human natures ain't right. He says the exact line she says. They come, they fight, they destroy, and it always ends the same. Yes. He says the exact same thing.
And then how does he, because there's still no explanation of what Mother was.
Yeah.
And now that Jacob is supposedly like her, we don't know what the powers are, how she got the powers, how the powers are passed down, apparently drinking some wine and saying a little Latin, you know, little phrase here and there.
But obviously that had happened a long, she's another link in the chain. But so the question that has to be answered at some point is like, okay, who started it? You know what I mean?
I don't think we're gonna get that. That's why I don't feel so great about this episode, because I don't think they're gonna answer a lot of these questions.
I don't think so either. I think they're just gonna leave it up to us, and I think that at that point, then it all just becomes a metaphor. You know what I mean? For kind of like life. You know what I mean? What are you gonna choose for yourself? You know what I mean? Even a lot of the things that are said in this episode apply to the characters. You know, she says to the man in black, "You're special," and she's like, "I'm special, mother," you know, and sort of that's everybody, that's a lot of the people on the island, that's kind of their desire or their goal.
Well, especially Locke.
Especially Locke.
Which brings to another question. Why can the man in black see dead people, but Jacob cannot?
Because he's special. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of not clear.
So my feeling is this: I didn't really like this episode. However, if for some reason in the next 2 final episodes that they delve deeper and explain a little bit more about some of the stuff that was in this episode, I might end up liking it a little bit better. But if not, it's to me just almost a waste of time.
You know, it's just, again, this kind of thing is in terms of mythology and those things, it's so up my alley that I'm going to enjoy it, and I like what they did with the characters. So, but I do want to see a little further exploration. You don't have to answer everything. These are unanswerable questions in a lot of ways. But don't back out of it entirely, you know what I mean? So yeah, if they don't do that, then I'll be really disappointed just in the series as a whole. I'd like to see them delve a little bit further into what the origin of all of this is.
All right, guys, so that's what we thought of the episode. You can post your comments below on the website.
Or on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe to the Think Hero YouTube account.
Or you can follow us on Twitter. Mine is @ThinkHero.
And definitely let us know what you think, and mine is @JRSC.
All right, later.